Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we're going to be talking about Stellar Lumens, aka XLM. So let's just dive in and let's talk about a few things. So today we're actually going to be talking about the potential that XLM does hold behind it. I do think that this, similar to like XRP, are like, just a few of the assets that have underperformed greatly, not only, just recently, but also like, just going all the way back to like 2017, 2018. Like, we still have not hit an all-time high, and, it's been a very, very long time since then. Will we ever get to that new all-time high? That is the question that a lot of individuals do have. Yes, we will address that in this video as well. Like I said, 5 years ago was when we did have that all-time high officially printed in. And honestly, I would argue the fact that, like, when we really kind of look at this market, the major reason why XLM and even XRP have not hit an all-time high is simply because of the SEC. Now, I know that a lot of people will argue against me and say, no way, that is not why. To me, it 100% is. We've discussed this and we've actually talked about it quite a bit in other videos. XLM, is on major exchanges, as you guys probably are all aware of by now. Yes, it is on Coinbase, Binance, all of the major listings, if you will. And like, this is listed on pretty much every exchange that XRP is delisted on, if you will. But yeah, I think that a lot of individuals do have direct access to XLM that do want to buy it, that do want to really kind of invest into it. And also talking about the tokenomics around like XLM compared to like XRP, XLM is actually around the same level as HBAR in terms of like circulating supply and even total supply. It's basically like the exact same tokenomics almost to a T, with just like slightly a little bit more circulating supply. Now, today we're definitely going to be addressing the potential behind XLM going forward. But first, yes, we did get listed on yet again another exchange. This isn't like a major exchange. This is more so like not only a centralized exchange, but it's also like an NFT marketplace. But they only have about like 41K followers. So obviously, like, it's not like a major listing. But like, what major listing does XLM even have going forward anyways? Like, it's basically on every single major exchange already. But I thought that this was something to include because, yes, we still are seeing, listings happening. But now I really kind of want to talk to you guys a little bit about Q2 2022. So this is from Stellar themselves. They say, this week we hosted the Stellar Development, Foundation Q2 2022 in review. Here's a look at a few of our favorite accomplishments, this past quarter. Starting off strong, the Stellar Network has seen a positive increase in total accounts, payments, daily decentralized exchange volume, and operations year over year. And of course, we do see the year over year comparisons down here. Total accounts up 28.5% from 5.4 million to about almost 7 million. Total payments from 7.5 million to 38 almost 8 million, an increase of 415%. Of course, average daily decentralized exchange volume up 166% from 34.2 million to 90 almost 9 mil, or almost 91 million. Total operations up 88%, 437.5 million to almost 823 million exact. And down here, technical innovation remains a high priority for SDF. VP of Tech Strategy explains in depth, why Project Jump Cannon is being built on WebAssembly WASM runtime. This quarter, validators. Sorry, let me start this from the beginning because we definitely are going to listen closely to this. This quarter, validators voted to upgrade the network to Protocol 19. SDF engineers used a sandbox DevNet to build a working payment channel prototype called Starlight. And listen closely.
So this quarter, validators voted to upgrade the network to Protocol 19, and they did so with the cooperation of the ecosystem as a whole, who have to prepare for upgrades by installing new software. It was totally seamless. Protocol 19 introduced new transaction preconditions and a new type of signer. These are two technical changes that make it easier to do things like build bridges to other blockchains and create key recovery solutions. But most importantly, the Protocol 19 changes allow you to create payment channels, which are layer 2 protocols that support high throughput use cases. So payment channels, they allow blockchains like Stellar to scale. Before implementing Protocol 19 in production, SDF engineers actually built a working payment channel prototype called Starlight just to make sure the idea would work. They tested Starlight using consumer hardware and residential internet connections, so nothing fancy at all. And it handled 1.19 million payments per second between two users. 1.19.
And by the way, like this is, sorry to interrupt the video, but like this is centered around and preparing them for like high throughput use cases. Like he was saying, like 1.1 million transactions per second. That is pretty substantial.
9 million, which is a lot. And suddenly, a whole host of new use cases can be built on Stellar. Starlight is well documented, it's open source, and it's available for anyone who wants to roll up their sleeves and experiment. If you want to learn more, check out the Starlight channel on the Stellar Dev Discord. So protocol change, that introduces new features to the network. So it describes what you can do with Stellar now. If you want to get a sense of where the network and the ecosystem are headed next, the best place to look is at the specs that define common standards and suggest new changes to the protocol. Stellar Ecosystem Proposals, or SEPs, and Core Advancement Proposals, or CAPs.
And yeah, I mean, like we know exactly where we are headed. I'm not gonna listen like for this 2 minute. Like there's a ton of videos within this that I do think that a lot of you.
So this quarter, validators voted to.
Sorry, did not mean to have that play over again. But for those individuals out there that do hold XLM and really kind of want to see where XLM is headed, definitely take a look into this thread, listen closely to things like this. But of course, like MoneyGram in collaboration with SDF rolled out, MoneyGram access wallets or applications can now enable users to convert their, physical cash into digital dollars and back. Of course, like Daniel Dixon, basically, broke this entire, process down. But down here as well, like SDF continues to support developers, startups, and companies building on Stellar with initiatives such as the Stellar Community Fund, Stellar Quest, and developer, events. 152 record number of submissions across 47 countries. 44, submissions were selected to participate as candidates, and also a panel of 52 judges drawn from, both the SDF and greater Stellar community, and the ecosystem voted to award 15 projects their requested budgets and to give away a grand total of over 10.5 million XLM. So again, like, 15 new projects are coming to the community. You'll love to see it. And down here, finally, the SDF marketing team celebrated several accomplishments this past quarter, such as being back on conference floors, testing new thought leadership content, and also launching an environmental footprint assessment, 2 new use cases, Wire and Get Paid, 21 blog posts, 7 press releases, 3 features in FinTech Female Friday of leaders in Stellar ecosystem, and of course 72% increase in web traffic due to paid digital media versus quarter 1. And yes, marketing has been ramping up, growth has been ramping up, like things are really kind of moving forward, which tells me going forward, XLM is definitely going to be a huge player within this game. And, again, like they are also announcing more and more, like, major use cases and partnerships going back to like even May 9th, for an example. I know that this is going back a little bit in time, but just recently, like this is like the most recent one compared to like all of the other case studies, by the way. Like, there's a ton of them, or I shouldn't say there's a ton of them, but there's a decent amount of them that we definitely look into, because like there doesn't have to be like a massive amount of use cases on Stellar. I know that we will see a lot more use cases going live. Like these are just like the case studies that they have, which I do think that they should definitely add more. There's a lot more other use cases on here if you guys do want to go look into it around like the foundation. You can check out like all of the other major like projects on here from like the grants and funding, which if you actually click here, you can see like where all of the grants and stuff went. I think it was on here at least. I think that I think it was infrastructure grants. I've seen it recently. I forgot where it was, but yeah, I think that this was it. And I think that like if you click here, like a lot of it kind of just breaks down where it actually kind of went. But there's been a decent amount of projects and things like that launching on Stellar. I know that like the main ones that we do see here are like the ones that we have talked about in the past, like for an example like Wire, Tempo Plus, like Cowrie. But these are like the main ones that we've addressed in the past, just because of like remittance flows and like P2P payments. Of course, like I said, like this one, Alfred Pay, is like one of the newest ones. But this one is like one that was pretty interesting because this is of course from the Stellar Community Fund. And we do see down here like what is Alfred Pay. Well, it first came about when Diego Yanez, I hope that I'm saying that name right, met with his eventual co-founder Marino Marrero in the Dominican Republic. Despite the pandemic, the DR still boasted a strong remittance market, the third largest in Latin. Haiti's economy had not fared so well, and many Haitians immigrated to the DR, causing them to send money back to their home country in high value or volumes, wanting to leverage the DR's robust remittance infrastructure. $10.4 billion in 2021. Diego Marino decided to set up a fintech business that would, facilitate seamless and affordable remittances back and forth between the USDR and Haiti. And of course, all powered by the Stellar Network. Like, this is the use cases that we actually want to see live going, on Stellar, because again, like we've always talked about, XLM is more so for like P2P compared to, of course, like XRP, which is like complementing the B2B market. And we do see here, like, we've spent a lot of time working behind the scenes because, nailing the first impression is critical. Latin Americans pride themselves on going above and beyond the service they provide incoming tourists, and, that's exactly what we want to do for users too. I completely agree. I think that, this is something significant around the P2P market and the remittance flows. Again, like a lot of remittances are, being stifled because of like the cost and the affordability. So I think things like this are great to see. And again, like Stellar powering this is also great because again, like the efficiencies around like XLM are very similar to like XRP in terms of like, low cost, quick finality, stuff like that definitely goes a long way. Now, of course, like, where can we see XLM? Well, first off, I do have like the XRP and the XLM chart here. I want you guys to understand that like XLM follows XRP very closely. So when the SEC lawsuit came into this market, it hurt XLM as well. We actually do see XLM having this massive cascading drop right around the same time that XRP did. The only difference here is that initially on, XLM actually jumped out quickly opposed to XRP and had a little bit of a run up, but so did XRP. XRP started to actually run up during this time as well, before having that eventual sell-off, which again followed XLM closely, or I should say XLM, followed XRP very closely within that aspect. And of course, you do see like XRP, which by the way is this orange line, if you guys didn't know already, very closely to even like topping out around like the same range. But what I want to talk to you guys a little bit about, and let's actually get that off of the chart. Let's actually get the RSI off of the chart. Let's get the volume off. So I'm still waiting to see if we do test this like almost 9-cent zone down here for like a major buying opportunity. I think lately we've had a nice little accumulation zone where we basically back test the resistance and turn it into support. But the reason why I bring this up and the reason why I talk to you guys a little bit about where we could head to on XLM. First off, obvious, main target going forward would be the all-time high, which would be at around like, 90, almost 4 cents, which from our current level right now at almost like 11 cents or so, this would be about a 693% move. Is that significant? Not really. I would say more so kind of going off of the, if we're talking about like the actual fib levels. So I would hope that we could get down to that like 9-cent zone just because it kind of pushes the fib levels out a little bit more. Before like a realistic viewpoint, we'll just go off of like safer. So that area for the bottoming range. The levels that I'm watching for is like roughly between the 1272 and the 1618, which would be around like the $1.15, almost $1.16 zone to about $1.55 or $1.45 almost. Now, could this go higher? 100%. In fact, like, if we're actually talking about like this on the log scale, there is like our other targets here, which would be almost like, $4, if you will. And, just to kind of go to like the 1272, this is almost a 14x, and going out to like the 1618 would be almost a 31x opportunity. Now, I ask you guys, are you comfortable with that being your topping point for XLM? Because to me, I think that is very realistic. I think that a 30x opportunity is pretty safe to say the least going forward, and I think that this is something that is also substantial in the long term, even in the short term as well. Short term being however long you want to deem short term. To me, like short term is like roughly like a 2 to like 4 year time frame, and a lot of this is short lived in terms of like a bear market, which usually lasts about like 3 years. And to give you guys a quick insight, like Here's our topping point roughly from 2018. And of course, our bottoming point from like March 2020, which lasted about almost 2 years, if you will. You could stretch that out like possibly, one other year, if you will. But again, to me, this is what we are watching for. And the reason why I can see growth like this happening, or even possibly a higher push, like, to roughly like the $5 level, but I'm more so kind of dead set on like the 1272 to the 1618. Is because of the growth that we've been seeing from the Stellar, development fund, the funds in general. We've been seeing a lot of growth on the ecosystem and some major updates from the team. So if we can definitely see marketing continue to, market around Stellar, which we've definitely seen like the marketing doing its job, then we could definitely see price action reflect that as well. And I do think like the next cycle could be something very monumental for XLM, but also even XRP, because again, like XLM does follow XRP pretty closely. So that is what we are waiting for, and I hope that kind of clarifies a little bit of my viewpoint on XLM. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe to notifications on. If you guys have more free content, you guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. As always, up to you all. Have a beautiful day, a beautiful night, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.